Hello, hello, Scorpio. Welcome to your November 2018 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Scorpio. And if you don't know what that is, go ahead and look up Natal Chart Generator, and you'll find a whole bunch of free resources for that. The other thing that I want to mention is happy birthday to those of you who have had birthdays either recently or if you have a birthday coming up in November. I wish you a very happy birthday. Don't forget, because it's your guys' month, essentially it's Scorpio season, I will be pulling a card for you guys at the very end, like just your sign gets it this month. So stay tuned for that at the end. And otherwise, go ahead and feel into your body. If there's something you're looking for information about in this reading, go ahead and set your intention. Take a few deep breaths into the diaphragm. Okay, why am I starting central energy? We're doing oracle cards first. Okay, so first thing coming up for Scorpio is change your costume. So this is about really stepping into a new paradigm for yourself. We evolve over time, right? For the bad and the good. And so this is reminding you that you actually have a deep, deep, deep influence over what your costume is, what you're presenting to the world, how you're being seen. And don't forget that your attitude, your mindset, the way you respond to things, that is also going to shape your environment and your experience. And that's why people push mindset so hard, because it's reflected to you in the external. It's really hard to argue with that. So it's absolutely worth value to really dive in and see what you're looking to shift in November. The next card we have is balance, and this is the chocolate flower. Okay, so balance is about finding like a really it's not about 50-50, right? That's not what balance is. It's more diverse than that. So it's about what definitions you're putting around your time, what boundaries you have in place. These are all things that you want to consider when you're looking at balance as a whole. So how does balance look for you? You're the one who's really deciding that. I like to think about balance as presence. Like, where are you most present? Like, when you're home, are you actually home? Are you, or are you checking work emails? You know, it's that type of stuff. And then we also have dream travel. So 'tis the season for intense dreams. You know, this is definitely going to be a really intuitive time. So as the sun is in Scorpio, it's all about the depth of your emotions, the depth of your experience. And so that is absolutely why there's probably going to be a lot of dream travel for you, a lot of daydreaming. And even if you don't bring the information into your earth body, because that's what's happening. If you're dreaming, and you remember it, you're actually bringing all of that into present time. And we don't always do that because it takes a lot of energy. So you might find that that's either more potent or that you might wake up a little bit more tired than usual as a result of this. So just a heads up on that. And then we have allow. Be curious about any resistance. Commit to releasing any programs of not enough. Help is here and simply waiting for your yes. I love this card. So whichever phrase stuck out to you most, that's the information that's for you this month. And maybe all three of them resonated. Okay. Now we're doing central energy for Scorpio. 3 of discs. So this is about your effort. Remember that where you apply yourself is what's going to expand, it's going to grow. And so it's about your consistency, your effort, how you're defining balance, how you're using your energy wisely in the month of November. Okay, so it's just about the application of your effort more than anything else. Now, what's in your highest good to manifest in November is clarity. So it's like a clear direction. I'm going to clarify this one just to check in and see if there's anything, because I feel like I'm missing a piece from this card that I can't put my finger on. What's Scorpio manifesting? 7 of Arrows. This is equivalent to the 7 of Swords. And so it's kind of like cut out the noise. Like that's really what you're manifesting, is more alignment and focus rather than scattered all over the place, because the 7 of Swords is about leaving something behind, like leaving behind the ideas that don't work. And I want to be clear, this does not seem to be about anything relational. It looks more conceptual and cognitive. So this is a personal experience that you're having internally. It doesn't look like it's environmental or situational. So I wanted to bring that up because I know that anytime we're talking about release, a lot of the time people will automatically go to relationships, and that's not what this is looking like. Now, the advice for your energetic health is the 5 of Wands. So I feel like I want to clarify this one too. Oh, nope. I got it. I just needed to listen for a second. This is actually where you've been leaving all of your energy. So if you've worked with me one-on-one, you know we do this thing called the Golden Sun. And that's basically where you go through and collect all of your energy. So if you've worked with me, then you're going to want to do a lot of those this month. And if you haven't worked with me, basically what happens energetically is every time you go and, like, let's say you have a to-do list, some of your energy is left there. If you have a fight with somebody, you leave some of your energy with them. If you have an unmade bed, some of your energy is with your bed, you know, wherever it is, work, school, family. And so your job energetically is to pull all of that back to yourself. And that's essentially what you want to do this month, is be very, very conscious of where your energy is and just like pour it back into yourself. So every time it's kind of like reeling yourself in. Like if you find yourself wanting to go into a rabbit hole of thought, check yourself. Is it worth the mental energy? And if not, try to reel it back in. You don't have to play out every scenario. This looks like meditation. If there's anything you can do this month, mindfulness meditation. So sometimes I recommend guided meditation. This looks like it's more of a focus on your breathing, focus on a candle that's sitting in front of you. And when your mind starts to wander, bring it back to that focus. That's one of the practices that you can have with this by not spreading so much psychic energy around. You want to keep it all for yourself so you're not exhausted. And then advice for your physical health, the Fool. So I think you need to start something, like you need to start a project, you need to start a new movement practice, start nourishing your body really well. Just start something in the physical, start something, it could be like a fun class. Remember that this can be pleasure-based as well. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm eating chicken and broccoli for 2 meals a day. No. This is something where it's kind of like fun. It's something that you should be looking forward to as much as you can. So just start something that you've been wanting to do, and that's really where you're going to see a lot of success, is just by making the attempt to begin with. What's shifting out for you is the 9 of Swords. This has been making an appearance quite a bit. I think that there's a lot of mental challenges, right? Or mental blocks, or again, the resistance piece, like you might be feeling really resistant or falling into old habits and patterns. And when you find yourself doing that, remember that you have the ability to kind of reset your energy and refocus yourself. So let me see what the context is a little bit. I'm just going to clarify the 9 of Swords. We have the 10 of Coins. So like your foundation, I want you to think about the way you respond to situations, the way that you are in the world. Trace it all the way back, think, all the way back to the original point of injury, not the most recent one. That's not what this is about. You want to go back as far as you can and think about where this fear or anger or resistance or feelings of not being enough or not having enough, any scarcity thoughts, any fear, was planted at some point. And so the 10 of Coins is about foundation. It's about, you know, all of the things that you've built on. And so the 9 of Swords is what you kind of built something on top of. And you can undo all of this, but it is going to take your effort. It's going to take you trying to do things differently. And so it looks like this is kind of naturally shifting out. But it's just something where if you can kind of look at it from a bird's eye view, a bird's eye perspective over yourself, and just remind yourself that you make sense. Okay, that doesn't mean that all of your actions and behaviors are right. You know, it doesn't mean that exploding is the best course of action or repressing emotions is the best course of action. But no matter what dysfunction, we all have dysfunction. No matter what dysfunction is running in your body or mind, it makes sense given your upbringing, given your history, given your genetics, given your energetic health. You make sense. So if you can kind of look at it from that point, you can remind yourself that you are actually able to recognize what's going on without giving into it. That's the trick. You can be aware of your dysfunction. The whole objective is to not give into the pattern. Now, the oncoming energy is the Daughter of Cups. So it really is about kind of waking that childlike naivete. This is like coming out of a period of feeling like really jaded, or like you already have all the answers. You already know the world is doomed. You already know that things are bad. You already know that that always happens to you, right? So that's what's moving out. This is more of the healthy skepticism within your own mind, within your own being, and saying, you know what, maybe I'm wrong. And when you recognize that maybe you're wrong, that's the point of liberation. That's when you really are able to grow. And the clarifier for the Page of Cups is the 8 of Coins. So it does take practice. It takes consistency. You're not going to get it overnight. Okay, so just that is perfectly okay. So it's as long as you're aware of it, as long as you're working on it, as long as you're doing all the right things, as often as you can, you're going to see a lot of benefit coming up. So it's just kind of like appreciating that naivete that you kind of have. You have the opportunity to leverage this is the point. Now, if you're new to my channel, we're going to get into the timeline portion of the reading. First quarter, second, third, and fourth quarter. What I mean by that is it's going to be about a week, but I break it into quarters because time is fluid. So the first quarter, this is where you're going to start off the month of November, 4 of Swords. So needing to rest, this is kind of what I was talking about in terms of being a little bit more sleepy than usual with the dream travel. Intuition really being amplified. And so it's kind of like that top heavy, like, oh, I'm getting so much information. So that's what's happening in the beginning of the month. And then the second quarter, we have the 8 of Wands. This is when things really start to pick up. I think you're getting a solid amount of energy back in the second quarter. It's just like that retrieval of, okay, now I'm understanding how to give to myself. Now I'm understanding how to challenge the belief that molded me, the stories that molded me, the things that are no longer working. So you're breaking out of that. And this really looks like waking up. It's like, oh, I've been asleep for so long, and then, aha, like there it is. So this looks really good. I think you're gonna kind of get that hit of motivation or inspiration or clarity. And then third quarter, we have the Ace of Swords. That, okay, I read this card before I even pulled it. So again, you're getting that hit of inspiration, of motivation, of clarity. That's what the Ace of Swords is. It's like, oh, I understand. It's like you're coming into ultimate realization of what exactly is going on for you on a soul level, on a body level, on an emotional level. So this is all about getting a clear picture of who you are, where you're at, and how you make sense as you're moving through the world. And that is setting you up to have bigger and better things. I think that November is going to be a month of exploration and kind of dabbling with, well, how can I fine tune this? And then you're really gonna see some progress there. And then this is where you end up at the end of November. The Tower, burning it down. This is the Nine of Swords energy, that foundation, because the Tower is kind of that sweeping you off your feet, like, oh, finally, like I have the slate clean. And it looks like this is actually created by you. Like you're consciously like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna wipe everything out, start from scratch, do things differently. Like you're kind of looking for that Tower, because this whole thing isn't working for you. It's just not, like, the muddiness of like the cycles and the patterns that happen over and over and over again. Not working. They're just not working. So you have to be the one to decide, you know what, enough is enough. And I think that's what you come to by the end of November. And then we're going to do a 3-card pick. So go ahead and pick a card, any card. These are affirmations for love and relationships, but they will apply. These are good cards for advice no matter what, no matter your situation or relationship desires. So be fluid with it. And then just go ahead, tune in. If you have a specific question, these are not tarot cards, they're gonna read as advice cards, okay? So first thing coming up, thoughtfulness. It's time to put your money where your mouth is and have fun showing your love. Think of all the little things you can do to show a person you love them. Then stop thinking of those things and actually do them. Is it time to hide a note in someone's pocket? Maybe make them a snack, order them a book. Anything thoughtful can be an act of love, even taking the trash out to the dumpster. Unless you're dating the trash, in which case, don't take it to the dumpster, take it somewhere fancy. Wow, who would have thought that being so full of thoughts could be considered thoughtful? So just remember, it's kind of like that golden rule in relationships. You know, treat others the way you want to be treated. Like, lead with that. You know, if you just start doing things and being thoughtful, relationships, sometimes, this is not for people who are highly codependent. That's not for you. This advice is not for you in this moment. But if you are kind of coming from a place of, well, if I do that, then they need to give back first, this isn't going to work. So you want to think about what can you give, and then you want to give it some time, consistent thoughtfulness, give it some time, and see how the other person responds. Just as an experiment, if anything. Again, not bleeding yourself dry, just doing thoughtful things and see what happens. Card number 2, receiving. I open up and allow myself to receive love in all ways, from all directions. It may seem scary, but it's better than receiving audits, bed bugs, or hate mail. I receive love and it feels so good that I decide to receive it some more, and then some more, and maybe just a wee bit more. So what are you saying yes and no to? What's working and what's not working? What do you allow into your life? You know, what do you feel deep resistance to? This is just outlining how that can also be manifesting in all sorts of relationships for you. And then card number 3, pleasure. Good one. I give myself permission to feel pleasure, and I let that pleasure rush into my life in a decadent display of over-the-top abundance. Then I realized that pleasure has been waiting at my door for a long time. It's just that pleasure doesn't knock on doors because loud noises aren't super pleasant. Okay, so again, get yourself a treat. You know, do something nice for yourself as often as you can. It's about running that, and this is going to help your relationships in really big ways. So this is something you have to create for yourself, and then when you're embodying that, you're also going to be a magnet for that as well. Okay, now last but not least, we are doing the birthday card for you. So this will apply to all the Scorpios. It's not just those of you who have birthdays at this time. Okay. And energy. Think about this month in terms of energy. Where's it going? And you guys know that I bring this up quite a bit because it makes a big difference. If you're giving it all away, if you're being stingy with it, if you're being reckless with it, like all of those things are going to make a difference. So be mindful with how you're using it and make sure you're applying it in the areas that you want to see grow. That's like the big core message for you. Okay, so like being mindful with your resistance, being mindful with all of that is also going to help. Okay, so that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much, Scorpio. I absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and working with me. You guys are what make this channel possible. And if you're looking to work with me one-on-one, all of the links are in the description box, as well as all of the decks that I've used in this reading. They're always in the description box. They will forever be in the description box. I include them in the description box every single time. So have a lovely November. Happy birthday again, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.